they can say there is in the record a rescission. There is not in the record any objection to the rescission. And they were given a mortgage 1 year following the notice of the final notice to cancel. So that it was after the statute of limitations.
Has your statute of limitations ended on your rescission?
Yes, the 1 year following the rescission.
You didn't file an action against them?
No. Well, see, that's what the federal court was for, but that got dismissed.
So you did file an action against them for failure to within a year period of time?
No, I waited.
After a year?
Yeah, because if you do it within a year, they can come back and ask you for all the rest of the money.
Okay, so that was Colin Yates giving bad legal advice to Leslie Esposito, who is a woman currently facing foreclosure, and she's trying a bad legal argument based around a 2015 Supreme Court decision, which I'll discuss in another video, but that's not important for this. Now, there's two main areas of focus of the sovereign citizen freeman movement. One is traffic issues, trying to drive without a license, trying to get out of tickets. The other big area of business for the sovereign citizen movement is preventing foreclosures, or somehow trying to stop paying a mortgage and keep the house. This foreclosure thing is Colin's apparent main focus, and where most of his guru activities it's the main focus of his guru activities and legal advice that he gives on internet radio. Now, Colin is interesting because he's kind of emblematic of how these gurus work, and that's why I want to talk about him. Colin's main claim to fame is a 2013 Supreme Court of Oklahoma case in which he was fighting a foreclosure, and he managed to figure out that the company that was foreclosing against him had not paid their taxes. And under Oklahoma state law, if the company that is trying to foreclose on you hasn't paid their taxes, they can't foreclose on you. He managed to get a temporary win in that case, and that's his main claim to fame. And that's what he uses as leverage to get customers and people to listen to him. Now, what Colin doesn't tell people is that he still ended up losing those properties in Oklahoma. In 2015, they were put up for auction, and I found the advertisement for the auction of those properties. Now, I've tried to build a profile of Colin based on public records, and from what I can tell, his war with the government apparently started in 1996 in Montgomery County, when he was ordered to apparently take down some motor vehicles that he had on his property, I think without permits, something like that. Now, keep in mind that its major focus is giving people advice on how to avoid foreclosure. Because in 2008 he was taken to court again for foreclosure, and in 2010 he was evicted by the sheriff. This was in Maryland, so let's keep in mind here, so far we have one foreclosure in Oklahoma, which he lost, and a foreclosure in Maryland. In 2015, he was again taken to court over foreclosure, a different property, this time again in Maryland, and the judgment was delivered September 2nd, 2015, so that's a third foreclosure loss for Colin. In 2011, he sued a bank twice and lost twice. In 2009, a judgment against him of $104,595, $104,595 was entered against him. He was sued by Severance Savings Bank, which is one of the people who tried to foreclose on him successfully. And finally, in 2014, there was a restraining order filed against him by a court in Maryland, which says that he can't contact, abuse, or get close to somebody who is unknown. And I'm only mentioning that because that was one of the rumors that was going around about Colin. So it turns out that's true. So, in summary, this guy has been fighting banks and fighting being foreclosed for almost 2 decades. He's lost every single time in court. Uh, he misleadingly cites his 2013 win, quote unquote, which wasn't actually a win, but then goes on the internet and pretends to be an expert when he's never won a case in his life. He's never been able to prevent himself from being foreclosed or evicted from one of his properties. And this is one of the patterns that you see over and over and over again in the sovereign citizen movement. These guys lose in court and then go on to give people legal advice based on their losses. And of course, they never disclose the fact that they have spent decades losing over and over and over in court, and that their arguments have never worked for them personally.